Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be part 2 of the Justin Baldoni lawsuit against the New York Times. If you haven't seen the part 1, go back and watch that. I will put it in the playlist that this video is in so you can watch that. This is going to be part 2. The lawsuit is like 57 pages long. So the first part was about the text messages, the smear campaign, etc., etc. This part is going to continue that, but also be about the sexual assault allegations. So if you have a trigger warning for that, this would be your trigger warning. They are going to be talking about sexual assault in this video. So if you need to skip over this one, feel free and come back to the next one. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you'll be here for all the updates on this case, as well as celebrity gossip to come, true crime news. I do it all on this channel, and I'd love to have you here with me and help us hit our goal of 1,000 followers, and then our yearly goal of 2025 to hit 10,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button and help me out. Let's deep dive into this lawsuit. Remember, this is part 2. Go back and watch part 1 first, and then come back to this one. I keep looking at some of these texts from the lawsuit here. This is continuing where we left off on for part 1. If it looks like I'm looking this way, it's because I'm reading it off my computer because it's a larger print for me. But this is between James and the Daily Mail, and it looks like one of the, Brian Friedman and whoever this text, the blue is from. I don't know who the blue is from. But it says here, and I'm just going to read the red underlined parts. You can see that Leslie bashes Melissa, tries to get me to say that Melissa was planting stories in bad-mouthing Blake. Never once did she mention anything about the SA. Then we go over here and she says, she told me that she did not like Melissa on multiple occasions, talking about Blake Lively. Also, she has a history of lying, again, talking about Blake Lively. That is in reference to her. So what they're trying to prove here is that they did not plant any of these stories for a smear campaign, that this is all organically happening without any of their input needed. I think this is just showing what they are replying to, but they have blacked it out. So I'm just going to read the red again. And it says, I had many conversations with her about Blake, and never once did she say anything about SA. I had a 3-way call with her and Melissa, and she never said anything about it either. Insinuating if the SA was such a big deal that they would probably have mentioned it on the call when they were talking about the issues and things going on. That is what I take from that. Now, this next text is very telling. Between TMZ and Melissa Nathan. And in this, I think they're trying to prove that the cast and crew did not dislike Justin Baldoni, that was all a fabricated lie. Because TMZ sends this to Melissa Nathan saying, people's story about Justin Baldoni, false about cast and crew hating him. We are told cast and crew find Justin a nice guy. Going on to say, don't take as harsh of sides behind scenes as it's being reported. At this point, we're told that it's being milked for publicity. Justin's over it. It really was creative differences between Blake and Justin, but wasn't nearly as bad as reported. Blake's huge ego, etc. is the reporting. From the same text line saying, do you have your sources? Because Blake Lively's camp keeps thinking it's us, placing it and we're doing all the all. And he says, yes, on production, they've had a producer working overtime and spoke to people on production and a post. Wait till I tell you the whole story. We're legit saying sources say it's all Blake's ego. You have no idea. You think you do. You do not. In my whole career, I've never come across this situation. But why aren't people saying the real story if known? Can I call back? Leslie Sloan, which is on Blake's PR team, and James, which I think is the producer. And they say, good for you. I know you're friends with Melissa, which is on Justin Baldoni's PR team. And he says, yeah, we are. She says, I'm not paid to take people down. I'm honest. And he says, she hasn't done anything literally anti-Blake. And Leslie Sloan says, KK. She told me the same thing that she told you, which is she said that Blake backlash is organic. And Leslie Sloan said, it's not. She did nothing but help get a movie make tons of money. Justin makes tons. Then James replies saying, she was kind of off promoting it as if it was Barbie. It's just based on the things that she's said directly, such as the interview where she's like, well, what do you want to do? You want to share location? You want my social security number? That was an organic interview directly from Blake, which is what I think they are talking about. Talking about basically the same thing. This is from between a reporter and the TAG team, which I think is Justin Baldoni's team here. It says a source to Set says they don't know of any investigation, but there was an intervention, talking about the SA allegations. We heard there was multiple HR complaints from crew and cast, starting with the first day of production. Wayfair is the studio. It's unclear if Wayfair Studio performed an investigation into the claims against themselves. Separately, we are aware there was an intervention with Justin Baldoni midway through production based on a pattern of inappropriate behavior by him towards cast and crew, which the team replied off record. The only complaint which not confirmed is if an official HR complaint was a guy up for a gig on the crew. Complained the younger guy who got it did so because of, sorry, these words are so tiny, ageism. There was investigation and found no wrongdoing. There are no other complaints, especially no other documented AR complaints. There was no an intervention on set or with members of the crew. This would be false to allude to Blake and Ryan had Justin and his team over for a meeting where Blake expressed all the things she was upset about. This was not Justin versus the team behind the film. It was his team versus Blake and Ryan. More of a continuous meeting. The way it reads now reads as if it was a proper intervention with cast and crew. Not true. And the reporter said, thank you. I just sent in. I'll keep you posted. What is the email for Wayfair? I need to legally reach out. Basically saying the intervention that they talked about in their lawsuit was not an intervention at all. Honestly, these texts here are absolutely huge for this, in my opinion. This is a huge win for Justin, I feel. Text in this little section saying, happy to land in less than 2 hours. Thank you. Have a safe flight, blah, blah, blah. I told everyone to not do one thing /plant/seed, even speak to one reporter, even on background. Basically proving that they didn't plant any of these stories. They didn't plant any seeds. That, again, this was done all organically. To the SA allegation. So this is your trigger warning. We're going to start talking about that and those complaints. That is where we're at in the lawsuit. So if that is something you don't want to watch, please go ahead and like this video, save it, whatever, and come back to the next video. But this is your trigger warning. So the next thing they're talking about is the fact that she claims that the scene where she's giving birth is on the verge of pornographic. And this is one of the still shots from that video point that they were talking about. And in the lawsuit, they stated that this is just a normal giving birth, whatever, and this is how it is, and that this is not anywhere close to pornographic in the least. Now, this is where it gets wild and where people are talking a lot about. Now, they say in here, and I'm going to read it to you, it says, adding to the sexual harassment narrative in the article's accusations that both men repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding. And so what they're showing here is messages between Blake and Justin Baldoni, where she says, I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines. And he says, copy, eating with the crew, and I will head that way. Take your time. Inviting him in to work on lines while she is pumping her breast milk. Read the point before this text as well so it makes more sense. It says, likewise, the allegations that Baldoni inappropriately described Lively's character attire as sexy is exaggerated and misleading. The text between Baldoni and Lively show, that's what I have behind me, that Lively had insisted that her character's clothes be much sexier. When Baldoni later used the word sexy, she was responding to her creative input on not objectifying her personality. Lively set and tone that Baldoni headed during the creative process. And what this text shows is Blake saying, we'll show you both ways, but Beanie is much sexier. And this is Blake talking to Justin. And then this text from here from Justin shows me, or at least tells me, that he was being considerate of whatever she was most comfortable with, because it says, good morning. If you don't have time to listen with morning craziness, here is a text. Just want to make sure you're okay with throwing the jacket on from yesterday morning and putting it on you. I want it to line up a shot and see if I can just use a piece of that shoulder. Establishing shot of the old cafe we didn't get yesterday. I might not need it, but I just want to cover see you soon. This is tiny print, guys. If it's just her shoulder, no problem. If it's her body or head, etc., then it should be me. This also sounds like they are communicating about what they want for the movie pretty decently. They're going into talking about how she feels like in her lawsuit that it's misleading of improvised unwanted kissing and discussed his sexual life. Now this text here is between Justin and Blake, where it says that Justin, he just hired an intimacy coordinator that he really likes, and he's going to set up a time for them to meet. And she says, I feel good. I can meet her when we start. Thank you, though. So then he sends us the producer saying, just an FYI, I just wanted to tell you about this. Seems she doesn't want to meet the intimacy coordinator until we start, which may mess up the workflow. But I can still meet with her, of course. And so that's fine. If she doesn't want to meet her now, I'll just have to walk her through what you and blank are thinking. Sounds like to me Justin went out of his own way to hire this intimacy coordinator for Blake and himself to feel more comfortable, and she didn't want to even bother to meet them before filming. And if I was worried about sexual assault, then I feel like I would want to meet the intimacy coordinator that was going to be helping me. Just my opinion. Are going into claiming, and I quote from the lawsuit, the fact that Lively embarked on a hostile takeover of the production, strong-arming Sony into blessing her with the ultimate control. Now these texts are between Justin Baldoni and the editors, and Justin said, just curious if you guys have peeked at her cut and if anything has changed. And the editor says, I have just been told that we are not permitted to look. And he says, haha, whoa, when did that happen? As per Sony, this evening through blank. Whoa, okay, then the editors and director isn't allowed to look at the actress's cut. Got it. Well, here we go. We will continue to take the high road. Sounds like to me that she was being very controlling in the fact that she wanted final say in everything and no one else could say anything. But again, these are just text messages and that could mean literally anything. Again, not taking a side. It's just so back and forth. I feel like you can't really take a side. This is between Justin's team, but this is an article and they're saying this is crazy. She doesn't have a good reputation. All of this is organic stuff from real people making TikToks, not bots, meaning they didn't plan any of this. This is all strictly from Blake planning this stuff herself organically because of her already not good reputation with fans. And then the next person says, exactly, if it was just comments, I'd be like, oops, but it's not. Talking about the same thing. This is between the editor and Justin Baldoni, and Justin Baldoni says, what's best for the movie is that I suck it up and let her in. And then this is also a text from Justin saying, we made a beautiful baby together, talking about the movie It Ends With Us. The baby might not grow up to tone exactly who we thought it would be, but still beautiful. That's what I'm holding on to. Very proud of us. And this is one of the editors saying, the last I heard was that she was putting back a fair amount of our version, just not sure what that entailed or what extent. I guess you'll find out. Talking about how she is editing the movie quite a bit herself and not giving the editors any input, essentially. Really tiny, small print, but I'm going to try to do this the best I can. I'm going to put my computer up here. But this is basically talking about Lively's calculated and actions to attempt to seize control of the film. And the thing that is circled, the text that's circled here, is from Justin Baldoni saying, she kicked me out officially from the film now. She's finished it all and can't be involved. Music, sound, VFX, everything. I'll make it through somehow. Just need to feel it all. And then this person here, which is Jen Alba, says, I own the prize. Her attending BookCon is a win for the film. Ultimately, be home with your family. And I'll be honest, this is so small, even on my computer, I can't read that. Between the editors and Justin Baldoni as well, saying, Blank wants to know when you could be there next. It says I can fly on Sunday or Monday. Up to you. Would you prefer to be there or edit from home? I honestly don't have a preference. And so it begins. We could push for you to stay home. It's up to you. Both have pros and cons. Underlined here, which is important. I want Blake to feel like she's getting what she wants so we can move on from this need of hers. And then Justin says, for the record, she's been getting what she wants this entire movie. And the editor says, I understand. And Justin says again over here on this other side, and she's getting to edit, which is what she wants. Let's remember that. Basically trying to prove that she did get to edit everything, that she was kind of taking control of the situation, and I guess honestly making kind of a hostile work environment based on the editor's comments. Off the same text chain here saying they're showing it at the book Bonanza, the whole movie, ? Yep, hers. That is from Justin Baldoni. Says, whoa, we're supposed to be ours, and then I was uninvited. Whole thing is pretty cruel and intense. Unbelievable. Sorry, Justin. I love you guys both. Talking about the editor, showing that Justin did get along with cast and crew. And then this is one of the editors saying, I just hope you love or at least stomach the cut that is going out to the world. And Justin replies, haven't seen it yet, can't yet. That Justin Baldoni didn't even get to see the final cut until it was basically released. Now behind me is a letter that Jamie Heath wrote that Blake Lively requested him to write on behalf of her to receive a PGA mark. And in the email I'm reading here, it says, this is a request that we feel was unreasonable and cold-hearted. And basically this entire letter is praising Blake, even though she really didn't deserve it in the eyes of Jamie Heath, saying, we hope this letter finds you well. We are writing information to inform you of the significant role and contributions that Blake Lively has played in the making of the film It Ends With Us, based on the best-selling novel by Colleen Hoover. This film has meant a great deal both personally and to our community. Wayfair Studio, as we obtained the property nearly 5 years ago. As such, we've been directly involved in outseeing every step of development, from adapting the book to the big screen, to bring on our co-finance distributor Sony, and of course casting our lead. From the time Blake was brought on, she has an instrumental voice in many different aspects in the making of the film. Her contributions have been impactful, and she was consulted with many of the casting options. She helped to refine the script. She redesigned her own wardrobe, and well as gave notes on others. She contributed to the production design and set decoration, and had influence on how many of the scenes were shot. Blake has been very involved in the post process as well. She has made an active role in the edit and sound mix, and has made decisions on the music selection and score. She also continued to find creative ways to promote the film so that it can achieve the greatest success. Since contractually she began the movie with the EP credit, our earlier submission of the PGA did not include her as a named producer, but we both feel her contribution have warranted the revised credit and consideration for the PGA mark. On behalf of Wayfair Studios, and then they signed Justin Baldoni, director, and Jamie Heath, producer. Text between Jen Alba and Justin Baldoni, implying that she was purposely making it look like the cast did not like Justin. Jen says, but nothing we can't get through together. This film will be successful. She has already promoted heavily, so she backs away now. It looks worse on her. And if you just focus on the bigger picture and how the film is going to change the game for you and the studio. Justin replies saying, just find a way to keep me busy when she gets everyone together. Obviously, if the whole cast is making content together, that's her trying to clue people onto there being an issue. Everything she does is calculated, yet also manic. And then down here on the bottom, Jen says, and that's why we just stay ahead of it. And Justin says, attempting to rewrite history like I'm not the one who developed this and spent 5 years trying to make it. And like there's an issue with me, it's just mean and hurtful, and she knows exactly what she's doing. Because if you remember, everyone was making content about how everyone unfollowed Justin and they were all together and nobody was with Justin, no one's taking pictures with Justin. And according to Justin and Jen Alba in these texts, that was all calculated per Blake Lively. This is continuing on the same thing. The editor says, and I'm going to read what's underlined here, if Blake is so determined to handle the marketing on the movie, then just let her. And then over here circled is what Justin said, the amount of women who feel seen, that it's reaching people all over the world, that men are remembering their own traumas and having conversations with their partners, That's why we did this and it worked. Still the dream team. The editor says incredible. That's the best news. Exactly the most important thing. Trying to show that all that Justin really cared about was getting the message out about domestic violence. Here actually talking about the premiere and how Blake Lively did not even want Justin at the premiere of the movie. Justin here says, long story, but we won't be in the same room. I was asked not to even come to the premiere. And then the editors are saying, I'm glad you're going. You did all the work, etc., etc. And then Justin over here says, well, if you decide to change your mind last minute, let me know and let's figure it out together. I'm going to be there. That's just different timing and holding areas and theaters and all the things you can imagine. It's still our film. Editor said, it would be very hard for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time at a premiere. Just cheer for us and know our names when our names come up, sending all the love. Yeah, okay, I haven't seen it either. Crazy times. Meaning Justin didn't even see the final cut because Blake Lively had the say in the final cut, and the editors didn't even want to come to the premiere because of their aggravation with the editing of the movie. Now this here is showing what, I think this was a video, a TikTok about someone that went through domestic violence, and it says, as a DV survivor, this is a message, and they said, this is why we do this, this is why we made the film, can we reshare somehow to amplify stories maybe? Showing that they wanted the main part of this being no matter what about domestic violence. That part is super interesting because here on the bottom it says, and make no mistake, this will not be the last lawsuit. Also including emails and screenshots of Instagram messages of death threats that they were getting. This one specifically says, this is a message for Melissa Nathan, who said, we can bury anyone. Melissa, I have more knowledge than you about Hollywood, knowing the dirty secrets of many directors and influential people up to the White House, because I am clothed in black. Some of the directors may. And skipping down to the bottom, it says, do not play with Blake Lively. Time is ours as it is night. And then it says, here we are above every government on earth and even NASA. The last sentence says, so next time you want to crush someone like Blake Lively, think again. We work in ways you will never perceive. Last thing I want to point out from this lawsuit, I can literally read the lawsuit out if that would be helpful for you all. But this is to the looks like from Melissa Nathan to the tag team, saying, obviously none of us knew about this either, but once media goes in, they go in. And then the bottom underneath me says she has handed it to them on a plate. Just concentrate on the success of the movie, saying that basically saying that the content creators such as myself are on fire and absolutely destroying Blake Lively. But again, as I like to say, it was all organic from Blake herself. When it actually shows some of the videos that were made, sending it to each other, saying, you did not do any of these, we did not do any of these, this is organic. Saying, really, really stupid, I cannot believe she did not mention working with a shelter or DV. None of this is our fault. It's breathtaking how tone deaf it was. A message from Justin Baldoni to his team saying, I've been seeing some IG comments on random posts defending me by people who are private with no followers and they feel like bots. Can we please confirm we are not doing any of that? I really don't want bots defending me, as it feels into their potential narrative. And then they say, I can fully confirm we do not have bots. This is not also what we do. Bots look fake to anyone. And then sent a screenshot of someone that had a comment about Justin as an example of who was trolling and wanted to make sure this was a real account. And then it's cut off, but one of the messages say, but yes, 100%, but this is not anyone from our team whatsoever. And reinforcing the fact, let's discuss this at some point. We need to be careful not to put out any stories that look so placed. Definitely open to discussion as a group on different ideas, especially as it links into new projects to clear it all up. Again, not wanting anything to look like they placed it or did it, that they did not want to place stories that Blake was doing this all herself. I know that was a lot, but I really appreciate you all watching and being here. Let me know in the comments what you think. Hit that like button. Does this change your mind about Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni? Let me know your opinion so we can chit chat down there about it. I really appreciate you being here. Hit that subscribe button, and when we have updates on this case and when Blake responds to this lawsuit, I will let you know. Until next time, thank you for joining. Bye!